Shalom, welcome to Real Talk, and this time with Claudia Dobkin, the beautiful, successful, and talented. And Claudia, how would I introduce you? Because I think you're going into your second stage of life in your career.
Well, it's actually my third. I started out thinking that I was going to be a professor of French civilization, and once I finished grad school, that was it. And then I went into business, and now I call myself a conversationalist. I love to talk. I love to talk to people, and I think that's pretty much what I loved about doing my research, being in business, was just the interactions and so much of what I learned just meeting people.
I love that. That's beautiful.
I loved it too.
You invented this title?
Conversationalist. I always thought that's what I should have on my business card instead of, senior director and all of these, incredible titles I've had over the years. Who cares? It's about the people I met and the lessons I learned about how to live a great life.
So you're literally an expert in a conversation. I'm happy that you're here.
I love conversation. Expert is a big word.
That's beautiful. And the title that I thought to give you, and that's why I put Eshet Chayil here, is an Eshet Chayil title.
Wow, that's big.
Yes.
That's really big.
And as long as
Explain.
And as long as your husband thinks that you're Eshet Chayil, that's all that matters.
What does it take to be an Eshet Chayil?
Well, we would have to read this whole thing, but I didn't want to go into that subject. But the reason I also chose to put it here is because, I don't know if you notice, the Aleph Bet is here. So when you look at Eshet Chayil, you see the Aleph for Eshet, then Betach with Bet, then Gemaltenu. So you have the Aleph Bet from Aleph all the way to Taf. And that's beautiful because the word Eshet starts with Aleph and ends with Taf. So I know that you love Hebrew, even though you don't speak it yet,
Not yet.
but you're eager to know it. So I thought that would be a good thing to.
I am. I actually have one of these pictures, but it was sort of an enigma. But now that you've pointed out about the letters, I'm going to have to look at it more closely.
So your homework for our next time when we see each other is to put all the words that are in the order of alphabet, okay?
Okay.
And learn those words and what they mean, okay? Because you know Eshet, right? So you already have the first one.
Okay.
And this podcast is really to see how we connect to the Torah. So I want to see how we can connect your story to the story of the Torah portion this week.
Why should we care about connecting to the Torah? Is it just my personal story, or in general we should, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for the world to find out that each and every one of us, in every year, literally, as we read the story of the Torah, to see how we can connect to it. And why should we? It's a good question. I love it because it will help us. It would really, I think, help us. Because sometimes we go to people that are maybe expert in guiding us, maybe therapists, and I think the Torah is a great guide tool to our life and where we should go.
It's really funny because I just had a flashback to being in your Hebrew class many, many years ago. I was really lost in my life. I don't know if you remember. I can't tell you how many yoga retreats and gurus I had spoken to, but I was really lost. And I remember going to have coffee with you, and you said, you really should go to Israel. You really should connect with your people, with your land, and you will find your way. You will find the answers. I don't think you said connect with the Torah, but I do think that, or maybe you did. So it's really kind of interesting that that is your theme for today, and maybe that's your theme for always.
And Israel and the Torah are much connected, so definitely. And then that's a little bit how you also find the love of your life, no?
Chaim. My
Chaim.
husband.
Your
my
life.
Husband.
The love of your life.
Love of
Chaim.
my life. Chaim. Yes, that same day when we were having coffee, you said, you know, you might actually meet someone in Israel. And the fact is, I didn't. I just came back.
He was on vacation while you were there.
Yeah, he was actually in New York. We met in New York, and I certainly wasn't, looking for an Israeli, but it just turns out my husband was actually born in South Africa, but grew up in Israel, and he is Israeli through and through.
Oh, yes, I met him. He's
You know that,
definitely
yeah.
a rough, tough Israeli.
He is a sabra, as you like to say, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet on the inside. Yes, and
He's definitely
he's
a
sweet.
sabra.
He's sweet on the inside with also a lot of knowledge. But he can be another guest on my podcast.
He is an amazing man. If I start talking about all his accomplishments, you won't have time to talk about me.
No,
so let's talk
today
about
it's
me.
about you.
Let's
Today
talk
about you.
me.
And so I'm going to show you how amazing it is, because we did not plan a year before or even a week before. It was something very spontaneous that we chose to do our podcast today. And it's so beautiful because your Hebrew name is
Yehudit.
Yehudit. So you have inside of your name Yehudit, which means Jewish, right? For a woman, you're Yehudit. You have the word Yehuda. And guess what? This Torah portion this week is Va'igash. And it starts like this. Va'igash elav Yehuda. What do you think about that? You see how you can connect immediately. And it's literally the first three words.
Interesting.
So Yehuda is one of Joseph's brothers. And now we're at the end of this story, which began with Yehuda being the one that he initiated from all the brothers that they should throw him into a pit and they should sell him. He was the mastermind behind this. And now he is the one that is going to approach Joseph, his brother. And the word va'igash is to approach. But gisha, which is the same root, it's your attitude. How is he going to approach Yehuda? In what, how Yehuda will approach Joseph? With what attitude? So, what is your attitude or your approach to life?
Wow, that's a big question. That's a really big and important question. I think after many, many years of climbing the corporate ladder and traveling and just seeing the world in an accelerated mode, I'm at a point where my attitude is more about listening and learning, and that's why I said I like to be, I consider myself a conversationalist. I think that for many years I thought that I had to figure it out. I had to figure out what I was going to do or how to solve a problem. And I was always uncomfortable with this attitude of not knowing or not being able to make a decision or, is it this way or that way? Do I take this job or do I take that job? And now I realize that that's where I am happiest. I am happiest in that in-between stage. In the search, in understanding, in listening to people and letting other people illuminate that divide and helping me see how to live a meaningful life and how to, any question I have, whether it's the kind of food I want to buy, for my guests on Thursday or what Netflix film I should see. I do take in what other people say and that openness without necessarily rushing to the answer or knowing or feeling that I have to know. That's the attitude. I guess it's an attitude of discovery and maybe a little bit like Yehuda and the brothers realizing that there's a different way of approaching life. Maybe there's a change in attitude. Maybe that is the big lesson, right? The change in attitude, not the attitude itself.
That's exactly what happened. Yehuda changed. And Joseph, seeing that his brother changed, because all of a sudden, Joseph wanted to do something with the youngest brother, with Binyamin, the same thing that they wanted to do to him and remove him from the family. And Yehuda this time said, no way, take me instead. There's no way, it's going to kill my father. And his attitude all of a sudden changed. He cared. So Joseph saw that he changed his attitude. He changed his approach to life. He didn't care anymore that maybe now Benjamin, since Joseph was out of the picture, Benjamin was maybe now becoming the most favorite son of all. He cared about the dad. He cared about his well-being. So it's amazing how you...
It's the change that
Yes.
matters.
It is.
Not the attitude. Well, the attitude too, but it's the change. Embracing the change.
And it took 22 years
Wow.
from the point when they dropped him in the pit until the point that he's now about to see his father, reunite with his father, with Jacob. And that number, 22, is an amazing number.
It's my birthday.
It's you see, like how,
And it wasn't planned,
how-
but it is the date
really,
of my
right?
birthday.
How many ways to connect to the Torah? But there is another way to connect to that number 22. Do you know how many letters we have in the alphabet?
Oh, I should know this from the Hebrew class. But
What?
I don't want to sound stupid, so
No,
I'm not gonna say.
I just told you.
26?
22.
22. Oh, okay.
It's
Oh,
22.
God.
Now you're not going to forget because this is your birthday, right? And now we're talking about 22, that sometimes it takes 22 years to change, right? Can you think if did it take you so many years to get to the point where you're happy with the search when you don't know immediately the answers? Or maybe not exactly.
Not exactly 22
22?
years. I think 22 is a good number.
It's a good
It's
number.
a good number.
I think so too. And there's something that we call a catch-22, that sometimes we are kind of like in a bind and feeling that we are stuck in a situation with no way out. And that's probably what Joseph was. He was 22 years not in control over his life, right? He was moving, but with no control. And sometimes that's how we are. You know, we kind of like let life take us to the different jobs, and we're not really in control of communicating. This is the real thing for me. It's the right thing for me. So I think you were always in that communication, in that conversation with yourself. And a lot of people do not do it. They just, oh, that looks like something good, and I'm just gonna take it.
I think a lot of people have a lot of clarity about where they're going and what they want to do. I think because I shifted careers, I maybe second guessed myself a little bit too much or didn't know. But I think it's just in my nature to learn and be curious. And so that's what fuels my interest. That's what fuels my changes in life. It's just curiosity and the love of learning. I'm happiest when I'm learning. So this is great. Keep telling me more.
So going back to your name and the source, right? It's Yehuda. And in Kabbalah, the thought is that your name holds the secret of your tikkun, of your destiny. And Yehuda comes from the word Hodaya, because when Leah, his mother, gave him his name, it was about gratitude. She was so grateful to get him. It was like a gift from God. So what are you thankful for? Do you live every day with gratitude and say, Hayom Yom Ushlam? Today is a perfect day?
So I'm laughing because when you told me that my mantra one day, another one of those days when I was like, Rabbi, I really need to talk. And the rabbi said, Hayom Yom Mushlam. And it was really the perfect thing for me to think about. I think I'm grateful for a lot of things. I don't know if I live every day with a degree of gratitude that, maybe I should.
You should, because what is the first thing we need to say in the morning when we wake up? To kind of connect to the gratitude. Modeh ani, right? So if you start your morning with Modeh ani, it's kind of like you're already saying, I'm thankful.
I don't start my day Modeh ani, maybe I will, but I am grateful to live on the beach, to walk out. And first of all, I have a gorgeous view of the ocean from my living room window. And I walk out every day and just enjoy the sheer beauty of nature here. The endless ocean is just the immensity and just the beauty of it all is overwhelming. So I am grateful for that.
Good. So it's good for us to be grateful. And there is a verse in this Torah portion where the brothers are now going to get Jacob to come, the father, because there is a famine and they cannot stay in Israel. And Joseph already forgave them. He already cried. They already kissed. They made peace. And he tells them, now you're going to go to get father. And he says, Al tirgezu baderech. Do not quarrel on your way. But that sentence is, he's giving them an advice, maybe more like an order, because he's like in a powerful place in his life. And it's about how to behave on the way, right? Because they're going to go now on a journey back home after literally discovering that their brother is alive and well, and now everything became almost like the roles have changed, and now he's in the role of power, right? He's not in the pit anymore. And they're going to go. It's a long road, right? They're going to be on camels and walking. And how are they going to spend their time on their way back? And then they have to also come to Egypt again. So it's a long path. How they're going to spend it? Not quarreling, not upset, not maybe pointing fingers and saying, oh, it was you that said we should throw him, or it was
Sounds
you.
Sounds like marriage.
So what do you take from this beautiful, you see, it's literally just 3 words, right? We started with 3 words, Vayigash elav Yehuda, right? How, and we can look at it as the approach. How did he approach him? And now, how are they going to behave on this road? How do you behave on the road? Do you look at yourself sometimes and think, maybe I get upset too much?
Definitely. I think I can be very argumentative, and that served me well at work, believe it or not, because my job was coaching very senior lawyers, consultants, auditors on how to speak to clients and regulators and juries. And very often my job was to challenge them. Is this really the best way to persuade someone? Is this really the best way to speak? And so for 10 plus years, I was challenging people all the time, gently, but challenging. But in real life, you can't always be challenging, not your spouse, not your siblings, not other people. Sometimes you just have to step back. And so that's one thing that I am starting to change, sort of leave work mode, work attitude, work persona, and still remain who I am, but in a different way. So I think the way that you've described all this is really interesting, because it is really about how am I changing. And I think another way that I'm changing is my attitude, or taking the journey back, is just really reconnecting with my passion for literature, for particularly French literature, which I love. That was my first love. French language, I'm a linguist by training, so that's what I love to do. So I spend a lot of time reading now and learning, and that really is the new path. That is how I am going on the path now.
And maybe now the Torah will be one of the things you're going to
Absolutely.
care to read.
Absolutely.
And dive into.
Absolutely, yes.
So before we wrap it, I wanted to let you know there was one more verse that I wanted to talk about. And this verse says, and Joseph told his brothers, Ani Yosef. I am Yosef. So he reveals to them who he is. He is Yosef. He's the one that is adding, lehosif. Lehosif is to add. He adds a lot to the table. He adds a lot because now he's in the position where he can add a lot to the table. You are now in the position in your lifetime that you can add a lot to the table. So if somebody's going to ask you, Yehudit, who you are you going to give the title that you are a conversationalist? Conversationalist?
I just made that up.
Or you're going to say, Ani Yehudit?
Ani Yehudit. I am a Jewish woman. And as trite as it may sound, since October 7th, I became, I think on that day, since I happened to have been in Israel on that day, I think I became truly Yehudit. And I have been becoming. And maybe that is the answer to your big question. Who am I? How am I returning on the path? I am a Jewish woman, and I am walking the path of a Jewish woman.
And I know how much you love and care for Israel.
I do.
And you know how much I love and care for Israel. And you know, one of the big issues that we have is we don't have enough asbara. We don't have enough people to talk about Israel and give asbara is to explain, right? It's almost like we need to explain ourselves. So would you be the ambassador, the conversationalist, but in hasbara about Israel? Do you see yourself doing something? I know you said French is one of your passions, but can you see yourself also as a Yehudit, connect and maybe do that as something?
How could I say no?
I wanted to hear.
How could I say no? Yes, Rabbi.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I know I gave you homework, but if I go to the pay, okay, the pay says, Pia patcha bechokhma, which means her mouth she opened with wisdom.
Wow.
So when we need people to talk about Israel, it has to be with wisdom. And the wisdom you have, and the Torah can help you. Torah chesed, to really share with the people through your mouth who we are. Yeah?
Yes.
I love it. That's why I brought you here, right? I'm hiring you as Miss Hasbara of Israel.
I'm going to read this tonight and learn and just internalize it.
So, Yehudit, this is the end, but of course, every end is the beginning. But is there anything that you want to say to the younger Yehudit, the younger Claudia that might be listening to us today? There's a lot of young Claudias out there, and to give them a good advice from all your life and all that you learned, and just a good advice for life as we go through the derech, our path.
I don't want to sound like an ancient person
You're
giving
not
wisdom.
ancient.
It's
The
like
whole
when
point
somebody, you know.
not to be ancient. You're
No, I would just say just keep learning and remain curious and just live in amazement of every single thing in your path. That's how I want to live the rest of my life.
I love it. And before I let you go, I know that our camera cannot probably get it, but on your neck, you have a shin, the letter shin. And the letter shin represents the Shema. And the Shema is to hear, right? It's not really to listen, it's to hear. So in life, it's sometimes hard to listen. But if you have your ears working correctly, you will hear things. So maybe this is really what your message. Your message is the shin. Hear what's happening and connect to what you hear, what conversations go, and most importantly, hear yourself, right? In that big conversation of life. What do you want? What is important for you?
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, I love you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Rabbi. Toda rabba, Abba.
Oh, toda rabba. Toda Yehudit. And I'll see you soon for our next coffee.
Yes.
Shalom. Thank you.